A gathering this summer of the world's fastest autonomous race cars will jumpstart the Grand Prix of Monterey. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from Indy Autonomous Challenge and Adaptation is CEO Paul Mitchell. Hi, Paul.
Hello, great to be here.
Great to see you. And let's give everyone a bit of history here about what the Indy Autonomous Challenge is all about.
Yeah, so Indy Autonomous Challenge started more than 5 years ago now as an idea to try and accelerate the pace of innovation and discovery in this kind of unique category of high-speed autonomous vehicles. We knew at the time, and it's still true now, that a lot of the focus of the industry has been on the low-speed urban suburban robotaxi, like you see in San Francisco with Waymo or Zoox. And that's important and a big challenge in and of itself. But we saw that there was an opportunity to test this type of technology and see, can it hold up? How is it different when you're at highway speeds or even faster racing speeds? And so we established Indy Autonomous Challenge originally as a one-off prize competition, similar to the way the DARPA Grand Challenge worked in 2004 and 2005. So the idea was build these autonomous Indy cars, race them at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and get top research groups from universities around the world to program the AI drivers and see who could do the best and give them $1 million prize. And we did that, but that sort of led to a realization that there was more learning, more technology development, and more interest from universities and industry to keep it going and turn it into what is now an ongoing autonomous racing program.
So, what will be taking place at Monterey?
Monterey will be it's the first time that we've run on a road course in the United States. So some of our teams have competed at a road course in Europe at the Monza F1 circuit, but in the US, we've only run our cars on oval tracks, most notably the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the Indy 500 just happened a couple of days ago. And so it'll be the first time that people in the US can see these cars doing a road course challenge. This year being the first time that we're attempting Laguna Seca, which is itself a very challenging course, we are going to have a time trial competition. So it'll be the winning team will be the team that is able to navigate the circuit with the fastest time. And probably by next year, if we go back, then we'll be able to do some head-to-head racing with multiple cars. But this year will be a time trial competition that takes place on the 24th of July. And as you suggested, is sort of a kickoff for the Grand Prix of Monterey weekend with the NTT IndyCar Series.
Tell us a little more about the teams involved here. You said they come from all over the world, and I guess they've become more experienced at this as time has gone on.
They have indeed, yeah. So the competition uses a spec vehicle, meaning all the teams have the same race car. So it's built off of the Indy Next chassis, which is a kind of the little brother of the full IndyCar chassis. So these are the Indy Next series is where a lot of the drivers compete before moving on to the full IndyCar series. So we took that chassis and we inserted inside the cockpit the robotics hardware to make it fully autonomous. So Indy Autonomous Challenge manages all the cars and all the robotics. The teams then program the driving software, the decision making. We call it the AI driver. And these research teams come from different universities around the U.S. and internationally. In California, for example, where we're holding this race, we have a team that's led by Berkeley, but it also includes other supporting universities: University of California at San Diego, University of Hawaii, and Carnegie Mellon. It's a team, Caltech, the famous, certainly, engineering school outside of Los Angeles. And then we have other teams across the U.S., as well as some international teams from Europe. Polytechnic in Milano will be competing there, as well as the Korean Institute for Science and Technology. So it's an international competition that brings together some of the best and brightest minds. Most of the teams are made up of PhD researchers. So it's not so much an undergraduate or even a master's level competition. It's really a graduate, postgraduate, PhD level research group competition.
Sounds a lot like the DARPA challenge
It
that you
is.
mentioned from years ago. Same types of people involved, right?
Exactly, exactly. And in fact, several of the universities involved were part of the grand challenges, and are still part of these other big global competitions that take place in science, technology, and engineering. And we work with DARPA. Indy Autonomous Challenge was selected as a official test and validation platform for a new DARPA program that's working on training AI for autonomous operations. And so, it's very exciting to have that connection back to DARPA, where really this concept of these kind of autonomous competitions began.
And the vehicles are not all electric for those who are wondering, right?
They are not. That's a common misconception. There's often an assumption that because they're autonomous that they're electric. We while we would love to race electric race cars, they're very expensive and very challenging to engineer and get a hold of. So we have used a Honda 4-piston racing engine. So it's a little engine that could. It puts out a lot of horsepower. It works fine for us. Gets us a top speed around 192 miles per hour on a straight line test. And on track, we've had speeds as high as 184 miles per hour at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So it's, what's interesting about it is it looks and sounds like a regular Indy car racing around the track. And you just look a little closer and you realize there's no head in the cockpit. It's fully autonomous.
And you still, as you mentioned, get the sound of it.
You do, yeah.
You think electric Indy cars would catch on if you eliminate all that noise?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they are testing out hybrid technology, which doesn't really get rid of the noise, but includes some electric propulsion to give them a boost. And so I think probably that's where the racing will stay for a while. There is Formula E, which is a great series. It's affiliated with the FIA. It's a little bit bigger in Europe, but it does has some races here in US. And those are electric cars. But as I mentioned, the challenge of running an electric race car is its own engineering competition. We wanted to keep our engineering competition manageable by having it focus on the autonomous aspects of it, and try to keep the race car itself and the powertrain as simplistic and as standardized as possible. So the engine gives us that reliability that we need to really focus on the AI driving part of the challenge.
Tell us more about the value that could come from this use of the autonomous technology and the way your company hopes to bring some of it to market.
Yeah, so I would say there's a lot of different values that come out of Indy Autonomous Challenge. There's the development of an incredible pool of talent, of AI engineering talent that are pushed to the edges of competition and having to work together as groups, getting them out of the lab environment and into a competitive, exciting competition that involves motorsports. So there's that sort of talent development outcome. There's of course the pure discovery and research component. Many PhD theses and publications that the universities are putting out relate to the research that's taking place as part of Indy Autonomous Challenge. As an organization, we decided to do a commercial spin out this year called Adaptation. It's actually based in Belgium, in Europe, and the focus of the company is on transitioning some of the hardware and software know-how from the Indy Autonomous Challenge into on-highway testing and autonomous driving. Specifically, where we think the greatest overlap of commercial value is around managing what's called in the industry edge cases, basically unplanned events that might occur when you're driving on the highways. This is a big challenge in the urban suburban robotaxi environment. A bicyclist that comes out unexpectedly, or a vehicle that stalls unexpectedly, or somebody that blows through a stop sign. You have the same kind of unexpected events on highways. They're just different, right? A vehicle has a tire blowout and becomes unstable. There might be an accident on the highway that hasn't been cleared off yet. or construction markings that weren't properly installed. And so how does the AI driver detect and make decisions around braking and steering, and do so at a time when the vehicle is traveling at higher speeds, which means you have a longer distance that you need to brake. It means that vehicle dynamics come into play because the car itself is less stable at higher speeds. And so we're taking what we've seen on the racetrack and applying it on highway testing, and also doing a lot of controlled testing at proving grounds. We've chosen to locate this company in Belgium. There's a big ecosystem there that's very eager to invest and support AI technologies and robotics and engineering. And so we've got a great headquarters location that's got a runway we can test on. It's very close to a large automotive proving ground that we have access to. And then we're working to get testing on highways actually in Europe with the safety driver, at least certainly at the beginning. We'll need to have a safety driver always behind the wheel. But the focus is on that edge case management challenge, which we think is an important addition to the industry, given that there has just not been as much R&D and commercial investment in that particularly important challenge. Because without it, you're really not going to get autonomous vehicles deployed broadly on highways. And without that, the benefits of this technology to save lives by making travel safer, to speed up the economy by having vehicles that can deliver things, at higher speeds or through the night more efficiently with a shortage of drivers, which is a big challenge in different parts of the world. You're not going to get those benefits without getting these technologies onto the highways.
Some may wonder if there's a correlation with what Tesla is doing, having their owners on the road, sometimes using their self-driving technology, which you do have to be aware of as a driver.
Yeah.
And what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Definitely Tesla is has been of the major kind of tech companies and OEMs. They've been at the forefront of level 3 automation, where you have a human that's still able to take over the car, and they call it full self-driving, but there's still a requirement of the human to be in the loop, so to say, versus the level 4 autonomous systems that you see like Waymo and Zoox that are deployed in cities, where you sit in the back and it's a pure robo-taxi. There's nobody behind the wheel. And so we're trying to, the difference between that is really, how do you manage edge cases? So can you get the technology to a level where if there's something that is unplanned and unforeseen that occurs, can the car react safely and securely at those higher speeds? And there's no doubt Tesla is working on this challenge, but we think that some of the demonstrated experience that we've seen on racetracks at very high speeds, and also the approach of really focusing on the kind of forced edge case testing. So, taking cars and running them through different on-highway scenarios on runways and at proving grounds is really the right way to build up that capability and that confidence. To put it in perspective, we saw a Indy Autonomous Challenge car at a race we had at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in September of 2024. One of the cars had an unexpected stop on the track in turn 2, and when that vehicle came to a stop, it was traveling at about 145 miles per hour. And the car behind it was trailing only 25 meters at 145 miles an hour. And the car was able to detect that the lead car was slowing down and do evasive maneuvers, but actually even come to a stop before it would have come in contact with the car. So for an autonomous AI driver to recognize that something is slowing down from 145 miles per hour to 0 with only 25 meters distance, that's pretty incredible. That's faster than most human brains can even perceive that something is happening, let alone react in the right way. So racing is really a place where you push things to an edge that you might not otherwise ever try or attempt. And when we saw that kind of success on the track, we realized it's time to bring this into the real world with the on-highway program. We're excited to be doing so in some really cool cars. We're using a Maserati platform to do this work. We already set a land speed record with a Maserati MC20. In Europe, we'll probably focus on using an electric version of the Maserati, the Gran Turismo Falgore. Because we want to show that these vehicles can also be fast and performance oriented in their autonomy.
Terrific. And is the goal of this company to sell or partner the technology with the automakers?
Yeah, with either is to deliver the technology as a way to improve the safety and functionality of level 3 plus systems. So it could be with OEMs who are doing driver assist or really advanced ADAS systems. Think about the way automatic braking systems work. They kick in when the human really can't manage the friction of the tires and the braking. So you could have a similar type of override that could occur in the event of a car losing control, and then this autonomous safety system would kick in. So that's one option. And then also looking at partnering or licensing to the tech companies that are really working on the level 4, the full self-driving cars, as they begin to move from the streets and the urban suburban environment onto the highways and motorways. This is clearly a big competitive space to make that leap, and there's no reason to believe these companies aren't going to make that leap. We think we can just help speed that up by, no pun intended, speed it up a little bit by offering this kind of best of class on highway edge case management.
Terrific. So for more info, where can people go?
Yeah, so for the info on the racing program, www.indyautonomouschallenge.com is a great place to go and find out information on the teams that are involved, the locations for the race events, etc. And then in terms of adaptation, the best is to go to the adaptation.com, and you can kind of follow the company there. The company's a little bit more, it's new, and it's focused on a little bit lower profile testing and activities for a bit here, but then we will start to push the boundaries of what's possible with a road car running autonomously, similar to what you saw folks might have seen us do with Maserati at the Kennedy Space Center, setting a land speed record. So we do have our eye on, beyond the racing program, is showing road cars doing some pretty incredible things, being fully autonomous. So we think it's important. We think it's important that people can see this technology doing something that only the top human drivers, ever attempt, whether that's hill climbs at Goodwood or fast laps at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway or the corkscrew drop at Laguna Seca. These are real challenging driving situations, and to have fully autonomous vehicles doing that, whether it's a race car or a performance road car like Maserati produces, is a way to get people to see this technology for what it is, which is really, has the potential to be incredibly safe and to turn the driving into professional level driving safety skills. So not so much trying to win the race while driving on the highway, but is to be able to avoid collisions the same way that maybe a race car driver does in the Indy 500.
Terrific. Well, congratulations on all of the innovations and the program there. Paul Mitchell, thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you. Take care.